Hello and welcome back to SGTV. So today I am joined by Neil McManus, who is a former lecturer at Leicester College and has now joined us here at Scolmore, and Josh from Buckingham Electrical, who is actually a former student of Neil's. In part one, we've been speaking about some of the shortfalls that especially Josh has identified when he's looking for an apprentice himself, and some of the areas in particular with regards to communication, education, all those kind of things. But very good episode, so please keep an eye out for that one. But here we are. I'll talk to you a bit, Josh, about the kind of work you're currently doing. Before we go into what you're doing now, actually, why don't you tell us about your experience at college?
Well, it wasn't a very good one, to be honest with you.
Bad
No. Neil was a shining light. Neil, to be fair, Neil cared about what was happening at the college and was trying to drive it in the right direction. However, I couldn't really speak too much on it, but maybe a bit of mismanagement, delivery of the courses. But those kind of things, they snowball, and then after 6 months, you're not really that bothered. A lot of people were there for a free day, day's money to get off the tools and go to college for a cushy number.
Do you think that's at a lot of colleges as well, not just the one you went to?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I've spoken to a few, and it's a common theme throughout the industry.
I think some of what you're saying there is true across all FE colleges. It's great when you do have a group that are challenging, and all different challenges, from a student being disengaged and looking out a window and thinking about rugby and training and everything else, and how I'm going to motivate that person, and then seeing the changes that, like today, and the being able to reflect on what he's done. That's all part of education, and if we've played a part in that, then there's been a success story. As bad as I think what Josh is saying about colleges is, have we at times let them down? And I'd hold my hand up and say, perhaps because we were shortage of staff, that we couldn't get out on site and assessing things like that. Perhaps at times some of the education and the qualifications are not, they're dry, they want changing. If you think about electrics today to what they were then, and staff being exposed into Josh's world, where now, I didn't know about it, and I live in Leicester, and Market Harbour's just up the road, and now he's told me something, so I never stop learning, and hopefully Josh will never stop learning from these experiences.
Were there any qualities you've seen in students? Because you mentioned in the previous episode how you'd see brilliant students who were always on time, every class, really good grades, did everything you want. You've put them out into site and they've not done particularly well. And on the other hand, between the both of you, you've admitted that Josh probably wasn't the best student, but Josh is now quite a successful outcome. So what was it? I mean, you spoke about how it was definitely the opportunities that you understood, where it was like a penny drop moment for you. But what about you, Neil? Were there any sort of things that you've seen in people where almost like a...
Yeah, I think through experience over the years in the classroom, it's being able to, even the quietest student, I've seen quiet students don't communicate in the classroom. And you start thinking, are they listening to me? Are they paying attention? But then when you go and ask them a question, they know it all. So then it's a challenge for myself to be able to go, I'm not challenging him enough. Now this person now is a director of a very, very large electrical company. And in the classroom, I was listening to other lecturers say, he's quiet, he doesn't participate. But when you speak to him, you know it all. When you set a formula or task inside, it was always done. So obviously, as lecturers, challenging them, people enough, not judging them. And then you get another one. I remember characters that they'd raced to finish in the workshop without thinking, why did I do that?
Not thinking about the application, almost.
And would I have sent him for an apprenticeship? No, because he was late for classes, he missed lessons. Everything doing wrong that you wouldn't do if you employed someone. But then he went off his own bat, found himself an apprenticeship, and he's just flew in it. because he wanted to be working. He didn't want to be in education. But we all know apprenticeship, you need to do some education, but 80% in the workplace. And I think he found the right employer. Everyone's different, and it's a matter of finding them qualities and finding a way of developing them for me.
And I think that's one of the main messages we sort of want to get across in this episode is throughout all these challenges of communication, generational differences in terms of learning and communicating, whether you're interested in college or the workshop or just not quite finding your feet yet, there's so many opportunities available to you if you stick with it. There's some amazing employers out there, amazing resources. Like we've had Mark Allison's Apprentice 1-to-1, who he started up linking companies with apprentices very successfely. So there is a lot out there.
Lots.
But you've got to stick your neck out, haven't you?
You've got to persevere.
And again, the electrical industry is so wide. And I used to listen to students, come in, I only want to do domestic house, because they've got that fear, what we were speaking about earlier.
Yeah.
But go and learn everything while you can, while you're young, and you might not be being paid, but then find the niche in the market, which I think you've found.
Yeah.
And it could be fire alarm systems, could be security systems, smart home technology, all the things that, I'm no good at IT anymore, but give me a program like our smart home system. It's great because it's so simple. It's press a button, but I've now got the knowledge on how to wire and how to connect it up.
All those products available from here at Scolmore, by the way.
And
Great plug.
I don't think students are being exposed to everything because we're too rigid on a syllabus.
Yeah.
And if we open up the opportunity, and like Josh goes into a college now and talks about, when I started, I only ever thought electrics were, wiring an house, or I only did this. Now, I'm working in this environment, might not be the best, cleanest environment, but the technology that's there, and how we're going, it'd be fantastic.
Could you tell us about what you're doing now then, Josh? So you've gone from obviously studying under Neil, gone through the usual routes, but
Don't blame me for everything, not just me.
No, I went self-employed. I just dotting about with contracting. I actually did my apprenticeship on industrial. That was where I cut my teeth. I really enjoy it as well, and I recognise that there is a big lack. There's a hole in the market. You've got domestic, you've got commercial, but then the industrial. I don't know whether people are afraid of it, but there's a lot of people who stay away from it. I don't know whether it's because of the environments, because a lot of it's factories. So you've got hairnets, ear defenders, gloves.
I wouldn't need a hairnet.
No, no, you might need a beard though. A lot of them make you wear the snoods, but the environments aren't the best. But yeah, it's just there's a massive shortage in industrial electricians.
What do you think drew you in? Because, like you said, there's a big shortage there. But I know from experience of talking to a lot of electricians in the industrial sector, there's big earning potential in that part.
Oh, it's massive, and the scope's humongous. There is literally, once you get into that, there's just so much that you can cover. Everything from automation to just general power. There is so much going on. And there's not a lot of people who can do it. I mean, to be fair, again, it's my dad. He really, drove it into me, like, listen, stick at this. This is where you're going to make your money. Stay with it. Because there were times when I was thinking, nah, this ain't for me. Like, working in mess and filth, basically. But yeah, luckily for me, I'm very fortunate. My dad sort of, kept in my ear and said,
he's got all these designer watches. He must be earning big bucks now. Here's me, eh?
But yeah, my dad, he just said, listen, stick at it. And through that perseverance, you then sort of come around to that way where you start to recognise the opportunities. And luckily for me, I got my chance with the company that I'm contracting to at the moment. I went there for 3 weeks' work, and I've been there 3 years now, full time pretty much.
Tell us about the work, because I thought it was like fascinating. I didn't ever think about it. I know we've got conveyor belts and silos and all different things, but I didn't realise about this place near Leicester and what they actually done. So start with, you told me that there were a lorry load that would turn up with like all offal and animal waste.
So basically what the waste from maybe say abattoirs or just general butchers, just biological waste you would call it. All of that stuff, that's full of proteins, fats, which when you separate it into them essential parts, there's a lot of money in that. I work for a company that does that. They take all the stuff that you don't really want to be dealing with. It's horrible.
And when they process it, what's the products that they make out of it?
Oh, they do everything. To be honest with you, I just know roughly, it goes this place, that place. But yeah, they send it fertilizer, feeds. What else have they got?
Glue.
It is known as the glue factory in my garden, but I don't think it actually does.
Urban myth.
Yeah, it's an urban myth. But yeah, they split it down, and it gets sent off, and they do all kinds of stuff with it. I mean, some of it it's category 1 waste, so it has to be burnt.
Right.
What they do with that is they actually have their own power station on site.
Right.
They burn it in that, which generates electricity. They pump it back into the grid.
So it's like biogas kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's like
that's quite clever.
Yeah, they've got all sorts going on, but it's really fascinating. Although I've worked at the same place now for 3 years, I'm continuously learning. I wouldn't say there's always something. Every month there's something that challenges me, and you think to yourself, well, if I'm doing industrial stuff and I'm at the same factory, is it really for me? I want to move about, but you're constantly being kept on your feet.
And it goes into all the products that you use every morning and night now.
Well, funnily enough, the fat that they use, that actually goes into makeup and beauty products and stuff like that.
Not on the waistline like this.
No, not quite.
I might just get wasted.
But yeah, it's a very interesting industry to be involved in.
And so the type of cables you use in it here then, installing?
Everything. I mean, to be fair, they've got offices. We do bits and bobs like the commercial stuff for them as well.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, we are, SWA power, 3-phase power.
What size armoured? At college, I remember we would only give you 1.5 mil.
Oh no, we're doing stuff a lot bigger than that. Yeah. I think the biggest we've done this year is probably 120 mil. So
right, so
it's a decent size stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's we've got some massive runs to do as well. I'm not sure. We've not had the design come back yet, but not sure what size they'll be, but it'll be a big old unit.
Anyway, we're going to wrap this episode up for today. We have got part 2, which will be on SGTV on this channel, so keep your eye out for that one. Neil and Josh, want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next episode here at SGTV.